This is the prolific teaching ministry of Apostle Tolu, the lead pastor of His Worship Christian Network. Brace yourself for an experience of enlightenment, education, and transformation as you engage with this episode.
Mark chapter 5, verse 25. And a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years, and had suffered many things of physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was nothing bettered, but rather grew worse. When she had heard of Jesus, she came in the press behind and touched his garment. For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague. Next two verses. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned about in the press and said, who touched my clothes? And his disciples said unto him, thou seest the multitude thronging thee, and thou sayest, who touched me? Verse 30 is my key verse. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself, immediately knowing in himself, there are transactions that cannot be measured in our realm. The movement of spiritual commodities or resources can be measured. The moment of dispensing can be known. The quality of God's giving can be measured. But the measuring tools are not captured within the framework of our earthly existence. Jesus, knowing in himself. The woman did not know when it moved. What we can measure is what happened to us as a result of what moved in that realm. Are you with me? Because we do not have the measuring tools to know what in exactness, what time, what quantity, what quality, and what we can only measure is the act. It means that you cannot fully measure to what extent you must make contact before you are helped. Is somebody with me? Okay, if I make contact with Jesus for 2 minutes, then I'm going to come into... There is no doctrinal measurement, abitanku, of how long you must pray before Jesus moves. So the end of prayer is not time. The end of prayer is not sweat. The end of prayer is not muffed tongues that you started with small letters, if tongues are labeled that way, and then you went capital, and then you prophesied a little. That's not the end of prayer. The end of prayer is not even a declaration. How we judge the end of prayer in our realm is a performance. There must be cognitive knowledge that I got something. So Jesus said, whatsoever ye ask, when ye pray, believe that you have received them. What he calls believing there is a receiving posture. And then you will have them. So until belief happens, that God administers something that tells you that what left heaven has gotten to earth before the physical manifestation, prayer doesn't end. Are you with me? But my burden is that witness that was born about the experience of the Christ. Give me back my 30th verse. Jesus immediately. It meant that this woman did not spend a long time trying to press. There was a resolve, and immediately that resolve became an action that same instant. It means it really doesn't take time before he can feel your touch. And once he knows your touch, something leaves him. Is somebody with me? So the currency here was not time. The currency here was a genuine resolve. That's the currency here. So when you come to church, what resolutions do you come with? God, according to Hannah's testimony, is a God of knowledge, and by him all actions are weighed. So when we worship, what God looks for in our worship is not essentially the sound, it's the resolve that worships. It's a currency that is stronger than time. If you seek me, you will find me. But it will only happen when you arrive at a place where your seeking is measured and it is determined to be with all of your heart. It can be achieved in an instant, a resolve. So we want to journey by resolutions for a few minutes. In case you just came, say it's Tuesday, let me just go. I want you to come again. In your heart, you will return back to your hostel and then you will come again. Verse 30. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him. And I've been singing a song since I woke up this morning. It flows, it flows. It flows, it flows. The virtue of Jesus. It flows, it flows. It flows, it flows. It flows, it flows. The virtue of Jesus. It flows, it flows. It flows, it flows. It flows, the virtue of Jesus. The virtue of Jesus. It flows, it flows, it flows. It flows. The virtue of Jesus. It flows. Two more times.
This is the prolific teaching ministry of Apostle Tolu Agboola, the lead pastor of His Worship Christian Network. Brace yourself for an experience of enlightenment, education, and transformation as you engage with this episode.